the system itself is very, very simple. It is effectively a database. It's an SQL database. So the most important thing about any database is speed. So we've stripped out anything that is going to prevent it from moving quickly. So hence the reason it looks like an IKEA cupboard. The main way of getting around the site is across the main top line navigation, and this will I'm going to go through 10 ways that you can prospect for new business using this system. Okay.
Right.
So the first way that we're going to talk about is current affairs that are sort of events that have happened in, sort of in real time, basically, which is the front page. Every day, we put up 10 new news stories. Okay, so these are all news stories that have appeared in vertical trade press. We scour 24 different sectors for stories that have a business development element to them, and those would be anything to do around the idea of crowdfunding, product launches, VC money, intel on companies, new launches, all that sort of stuff. Now, if you click on any one of those headlines, that will then take you through to an expanded view of that particular story. Okay. And then as you go down, all right, what we then do is we list the contacts that we found at that particular company and all the corporate information. So effectively what you've got here is one page that you can look at if you're in a dialogue with anybody, that you've got all the information available to you all on one screen. So you're not clicking around. Right?
You don't have email contacts for the people there.
If you click on any one of those contacts, that will then take you through to their individual contact information, which includes email and LinkedIn.
Cool.
Okay. So
it gives this with Tim?
Sorry?
Can I share this with Tim?
Yes, of course you can. Yes.
Okay.
So the whole idea is that you basically have a simple conversation driven or a simple platform for driving conversation. So you're able to effectively stay on the line, talk about something that was happening, talk about colleagues, and know exactly where they are and all the contact information. Okay.
Now, is that the article itself, or did you guys provide the content?
No, this is the article. You mean, where does the article come from?
Yeah.
Well, it can be cobbled together. We actually put them together based on stuff that we find. So if we find the story, we'll look to find it validated somewhere else, find it in other sources, and then we'll put it together as a little piece.
So these are your words from
not all our words, no.
Right. Okay.
No.
But when I said share it with Tim, I meant the actual platform itself, so you could try it out.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course you can. Yeah, it's not a problem. So this is one way that you can do it. So you can log in every day and just keep a kind of just a general tab on what's going on, sort of around, see if there's any interesting stories. Now, say for example, you wanted to use current affairs as a way of targeting companies. You can actually do that. So companies that have been in the news recently, you can either do it this way, so you're limiting yourself to 10, or if you just hit the news tab across the top, this will give you a 3-month breakdown of all the headlines that have been in the Advertist over across all 24 sectors. So you're talking effectively 600 potential stories there.
I see the last date is June 11th. Do you have more current than that, or is this just?
No, this is UK date format.
Never mind. You're right. That happens to me all the time.
That's all right. It throws us because we have to work across two different date and time formats as well. So yeah. So this goes back 3 months. Okay. Gotcha. So 600 news stories to choose from, and you can break those news stories down by sector. So say for example, you wanted
healthcare. Let me see healthcare.
Okay, you wanted to target companies that were in the healthcare sector that have been in the news recently. Okay.
Awesome.
So there you've got a list of headlines there, and you've got two pages of companies that have been in, and you'll find these aren't your kind of usual, sort of big tech, big pharma companies. Some of these are good sort of pharma tech and health tech type companies that you want to target as well. So
One of
freshly
our,
funded, lots of VC money. Okay, so that's the other way you can do it. So I am rushing through this, but hopefully if it's on video, you'll be able to slow it down.
People Moves is interesting. Click on that one for a minute.
We will do it. Hang on, let me get to it in a second. Okay. The other way to do this, okay, is to target. So say, for example, you weren't bothered whether they've been in the news or not, okay? You can then target you've got the entire database here by clicking on the companies tab. So whether they've been in the news or not, you can then break that down, okay, into, so say you wanted to healthcare. These are all the companies in the healthcare sector that are in our database, whether they've been in the news or not. And you can use these checkboxes on the right-hand side to make your own data list, which will appear on the front page when you go back to it. Okay.
Gotcha. Yep.
And you're then able to export that. Right, now onto your thing, people moves. These are people that have changed jobs within the last 3 months. Anybody that's changed jobs, since before over 3 months ago isn't considered a people move. The people listed here are people that have changed jobs and the job that they have gone to. Okay. By clicking on each of these, right, it'll take you to them, their actual page within the company, plus the listing of that'll say where they've come from and what their job responsibilities are, that sort of stuff.
Great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now we do on average about 50 a week. So again, that's 200 a month to target. So great opportunities for targeting people that have just, looking to set up new relationships with agencies, all that sort of stuff.
Great.
Okay. Then we have tenders, UK tenders. This is the only publication, the only platform that'll do UK tenders at the moment, because we monitor 14 different tender sites in the UK and Europe for companies and institutions that are issuing tenders, and we pull them all together in one place. Don't know if you do use tenders as a way of for business development, but two things about them. Number one, we cover tenders from companies that aren't necessarily government type stuff. So obviously you've got here, sort of NGOs, you've got charities, you've got education institutions, all that sort of thing. Okay, so these are sort of decent.
These tenders, you mean bids?
Bids, yes, bids, tenders
for agencies.
Yep.
And so forth. Yeah.
And just to give you an example, we provide a kind of a sort of a shortened version of it, so that you can actually just get the sort of top line of it, and then you're able to, once you go down there, you can follow the link and that'll take you to the actual full tender, because sometimes these tenders have application sort of information that you need to qualify for in order to do it.
Typically, I'm not a big fan of tenders, because by the time you find out about it, there's 30 other agencies in on it, but it's probably worth a look anyway.
Absolutely. And
you never know. And there may be something where there's, potentially a glaring fit based on, doesn't even have to be relevant to the industry. It could be, the kind of experience or thinking you could bring to a particular need.
Well, you're getting close to the point I was just about to make. Okay. One of the things that makes this tender thing very useful is the fact that it's not necessarily the tender, but it's the institution itself. So say, for example, you weren't interested in the tender, but you were interested in targeting the University of Leeds with an education-based proposal. Okay. Yep. Number one, you're able to go to them and say, we saw you recently putting out a tender, for digital transformation strategy. That's not really the thing. But what we do understand is that oftentimes we find that our clients who would issue a tender for that sort of thing, usually there's a bunch of projects that cascade out of that, and we'd be very much interested in talking to you about those. The second point to make about it is that wherever there is a tender, there's upheaval, and where there's upheaval, there's opportunities for business development.
Right. Yeah.
So these things are usually indicators of change, if even if the tender itself isn't any use to you.
Got it.
Okay, across the top again, mergers and acquisitions. We put in every week we update a list of mergers and acquisitions that have appeared in the news section. So they're already in, we just corral them all together in one area, which are companies that have been VC funded, that crowdfunding, management buyouts, takeovers, mergers, acquisitions, all that sort of stuff we put together in one area for you, because
Got it.
again, wherever these sorts of things happen, you're talking, the ripple effects of those can go, can last up to six months to a year. So they're all good territory for new business prospecting.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. As you say, I mean, the dust needs to settle, but it's at least good information to have.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the other thing, I mean, okay, so to round up, okay, so we've got daily current affairs, we've got news from the last 3 months. Then you've got the company's database to search from. You've also got people moves. You have tenders, mergers and acquisitions, and the final part to that is the lists. Okay, now this is a reserve kind of opportunity, or a third tier of business development that you can bring in, which is, so say you're targeting healthcare companies with a proposal, but you think that because this has financial implications, it may be worth targeting the top UK insurance companies with it as well, to see whether they're operating in the healthcare sector as well. So you can pull off these lists, which are basically oven ready lists, mailing lists for you to be able to target. And we keep these all maintained. But I mean, for example, the one that I love to show off, there's the UK fintech companies, is a list that has been going for nearly 2 years now, and we just keep adding to it. And you've got some nearly 90 fintech companies there.
Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. Well, we're nearly done anyway. So, so yeah, you've got tactical hit lists here. I mean, the whole idea is that basically you use this as a, so you've got your kind of main. There are 3 elements to new business. You've got your own contacts that you keep sort of in your own little black book. Okay, so people that know you. Then you have, where we come in, people that don't know you but should know you because of the work that you've done. And then the third tier are companies that in sectors that you may haven't sort of thought about targeting, but now would be a good time to go after it. And especially now, it's very important, because obviously, with the way the economy is going, you've got things that are shutting down and things that are opening up. And sort of all, it's like whack-a-mole at the moment. So it's a good idea to keep a kind of a tab on other sectors that may be booming, that you may not have a specialty in.
No, this is good. I'll share it with Tim. And you were telling me we'd like to give it a trial run. You said the cost there were two tiers of cost.
No, it's just basically, I mean, we have a flat transparent fee. It's £1,500 for the whole year.
Right. Okay.
And that puts us about a third of the price of anything else you might be thinking about, because it's basically, we decided when we launched this 13 years ago, we wanted to democratize the whole thing, to basically make, sort of stop it being the privilege of the big agency networks, and to allow SMEs and medium-sized companies to be able to use the service. So it's important that we price it accordingly. So that's really
good to know. I have to run. Do you have any more time this afternoon to talk about the podcast?
Well, we can pick that up next week if you want. I'm not. I'm kind of. I'm happy to talk about doing the podcast. We just to let you know, the main podcast itself is here.
Yeah.
And we are currently we're putting together shows that are going to come out in January now. So we're sort of,
let's talk about that later then.
We've got plenty of time.
If you forward me